Hey everybody, and welcome to the Daily Scopes from the 22nd to the 28th of September. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I, formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellation Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs, the Western signs, shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra-parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination, either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contra-parallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contra-parallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contra-parallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contra-parallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contra-parallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contra-parallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contra-parallels and parallels are. Okay, so this week we've got a few aspects flavouring our week, a lot of them containing Mercury energy, so a lot of communication can be increased and kind of like conflicted this week, but I'll get into all that good stuff. So the first aspect flavouring our week is Mercury making a parallel to the moon's north node, which is the same as a conjunction. This is exact at 10 p.m. on the 24th of September, and this leaves us on the 27th of September, and it entered on the 22nd of September. Mercury also makes a contra-parallel to Neptune, and this entered on the 23rd of September. Enters and is exact on the 25th of September at 10:04 p.m. and it leaves us on the 28th of September at 10:28 a.m. The Sun also makes a contra-parallel to Mercury, and this entered on the 24th of September, is exact at 9:29 a.m. on the 26th of September, and leaves us at 2:24 a.m. on the 28th of September. And the Sun also makes a parallel, which is the same as a conjunction, to Neptune, and this entered on the 22nd of September at 2:33 a.m, is exact at 9:26 a.m. on the 27th of September, and leaves us on the 2nd of October at 4:39 p.m. So Sun, Mercury and Neptune dominating this week. So Mercury's parallel to the moon's north node increases our communication and our ability to communicate effectively and make decisions that align with our daily routine, our responsibilities and our life purpose or goals, whatever it is you're working on. It encourages us to have clarity in our thoughts, and it just helps us express ourselves with more precision and conciseness. Some of you may find it easier to have meaningful conversations with others and get your ideas across more articulately. So this can be really good to solving, relationship problems and stuff like that. But negatively, we can become too fixated on details or being overly critical in our communication, or we can just be bogged down with our own self-destructive thoughts and behaviours right now, so we just have to strike a balance between being analytical and empathetic towards ourselves and others, and differences in opinions and your toxic thoughts and behaviours, and just trying to consider different perspectives to solve your problems, to look at your toxic thoughts and behaviours, or to resolve misunderstandings and conflicts that come up this week. Mercury's contra-parallel to Neptune adds to this confusion and the clouding in our thinking, and all Neptune energy on the negative makes us want to run into our intoxicating substances, or using alcohol excessively, intoxicating relationships excessively, or just being toxic to ourselves and others in other ways because we want to escape. We don't want to deal, so we do anything to kind of avoid reality and kind of escape into fantasy. Also, it can add to the misunderstandings in communication, so we just have to double check facts this week, and especially when repeating and believing in things, to avoid being deceived and manipulated, and also the fact that you may want to be lied to and ignore the red flags as well. And so this aspect actually brings challenges in how we can express ourselves and understand others, and we may struggle with decision making and because of this influence. But the best use of this influence is to use it to help you relax and do all things that are creative and spiritual. Work with your imagination and just explore your spiritual and creative sides, embracing being ambiguous and allowing room for intuition, and this can lead to innovative ideas and insights that may have not come to your mind if you didn't allow yourself to journal your emotions, voice note your emotions. Work with whatever it is you feel right now can really not only be healing, but can boost your self-love, acceptance, understanding, and just forgiveness. So the Sun's parallel to Mercury brings a clash between our rational mind and our ego, so we can just be really self-doubtful right now, and there can just be conflicting priorities. So we just have to find a balance between logic and being confident, so that we avoid inner chaos and external clashes. The Sun's parallel to Neptune again increases our sensitivity and intuition this week. So this is really good. A lot of energy helping us to work through our 12th house stuff, because Neptune lives in the 12th house. So the way we run from our subconscious, we run from our psychological, emotional, spiritual trauma that needs to be healed, the secrets and lies we tell to ourselves, hidden enemies this week may surface, the ways that we imprison ourselves by not allowing ourselves to get outside of our comfort zone, or anything else that we do regularly that's imprisoning and stopping you from growing on any level will come to your attention. It's a great energy to reflect, especially spiritual, philosophical and deeper reflection, meditation, and just, allow yourself to be inspired from within. Overall, these transits allow us to work through the obstacles that can come through and the complexities of communication, our self-expression, because a lot of the time we don't express ourselves authentically because other people don't like it. We can fall into people pleasing, or just trying not to stand out because we're scared of how other people may respond. We need to sort of blend being rational and being compassionate and meeting our own needs, and just embrace the balance between logic and confidence and intuition and creativity this week. In terms of Mercury's parallel to the Moon's North Node, because it can allow us to be more intuitive, past life memories related to communication and learning may come up heavily in your life this week, so it's important to pay attention to the messages from your subconscious mind. Mercury's contra-parallel to Neptune can bring past life or memories around, us being sort of being deceived by communication, being scammed, whether it be a romance scam or friendship, or just something that, things that have made you feel like you've been deceived, or maybe you're the one who's deceiving others, and this can all come out. In terms of the Sun's contra-parallel to Mercury, past life memories, or of power struggles and conflicts related to your self-expression. It reminds us to be careful of how we communicate our ideas and how assertive we are in expressing ourselves, and reminds us not to allow other people to walk all over us. And the sun's parallel to Neptune can just sort of have past life memories revolving around our spiritual activities, or where we used our imagination, or where lack of not using your imagination may have caused issues in your past. So this week there's a lot of diverse energies, but as I said, the main focus will be on our communication and the way that we use our communication and our thoughts, and the ways that we escape, because we've got a lot of Neptune energy, our thoughts or our minds, and the things that we do you escape in healthy or negative ways? Ask yourself why, if you do escape into self-destructive relationships, self-destructive thoughts and behaviours, why? Try and get to the root cause of your issues. We've got a lot of energy supporting us going deep into our subconscious this week. So on the 22nd of September, the moon enters Taurus at 1:40 a.m. Mercury makes a quincunx to Chiron at 3:59 a.m. The sun makes a trine to Pluto at 7:12 a.m. The autumn equinox is exact at 1:44 p.m. And if you want to know all about that, check out the separate order that I've done. Venus makes a square to Pluto at 10:15 p.m. as well. So, Mercury's quincunx to Chiron happens when Mercury's in Leo, Chiron's in Pisces, and lasts for a couple of days. The sun's trine to Pluto happens when the sun's in Virgo, Pluto's in Capricorn, and this lasts for 2-3 days as well. Venus makes a square to Pluto, and Venus is in Libra and Pluto's in Capricorn, as I said. So these energies bring a diverse blend. The moon in Taurus allows us to be stable and practical. We need that this week. A lot of Neptune energy making us escape, but this energy can make us be stubborn and resistance to change. But this stubbornness can be a good thing, because it can make us be stubbornly committed to bringing change into our life, or to committing to letting go of our toxic thoughts and behaviours and relationships, or start or continuing the work of healing your psychological, emotional and spiritual wounds. Mercury in Leo making a quincunx to Chiron in Pisces adds to the challenge in our communication, and with us experiencing healing this week, we can find it difficult to express our feelings, our deepest wounds. We may feel it, but we can't put it into words or make ourselves understand it clearly. So this can make us confused. So it's essential to take time out, be gentle with yourself, especially be gentle with others if you find it hard to understand them, or they find it hard to understand you. Just have more empathy and openness. This can be really good. Giving space for mistakes, or forgiveness for not being understood, or asking for forgiveness if you don't understand others, or just be clear on, I really want to understand you, can you help me, can you explain? Maybe researching tools to help you understand yourself and others can be really good at this time to navigate the trauma these transits bring over the next 2 to 3 days. And the sun's trine to Pluto just allows us to take those practical actions to improve our life and to be more empowered and pay attention to detail. Some of you may use this energy to bring new organisational systems into your work or personal life, whether it be through organising your self-care routines or project routines to increase your overall well-being. So creating systems that can help you manage your life better. In terms of the autumn equinox, it symbolises harmony and tradition, because there's a balance between day and night. Night and day are equal length, so it just allows us and supports us to find balance within our life. And I go more in depth about what all of this means in the special that I've done. Venus is square to Pluto, brings to our attention that, we may find ourselves really struggling in our relationships this week because of the power dynamics, but it wants us to seek harmony through open communication, compromise, and taking a balanced approach to handling our resources. It allows us to address underlying issues and to create deeper connections with others and ourselves based on trust, honesty and mutual respect. So this is really, really good. It allows us to dig into our vulnerabilities and to just understand them if we want to, if we're willing to, do that work step by step, day by day to do so. On the 23rd of September, Venus makes a sesquiquadrate to Saturn at 1:52 a.m. Mercury enters Virgo at 5:41 a.m. and the moon void of course starts at 11:39 p.m. So Venus's sesquiquadrate to Saturn happens when Venus is in Libra and Saturn is in Aquarius. So it just allows us to be more fair and brings more balance into our relationship, into ourselves, into our inner values, what we think, our opinions and beliefs. Our perceptions sometimes are really good when we manage them, but when we don't question why we think and behave in the ways that we do throughout our life, this can cause problems. So this energy just allows us to tap into why we do the things we do, and maybe supports us in changing some of these habits. If we tap into it, we may find ourselves more open to compromise and seeking peace. So this is really good for conflict resolution, which is really, really needed. But because Saturn can add to the restriction of the week, we can just feel limited. Obstacles can just make us feel like we're drowning and be like, oh, I'm still so tired. But also Saturn allows us to be more disciplined, to bring more structure and order into our life, and it just challenges us to find a balance between being responsible and bringing more romance and peace and self-care into our life as well. So ultimately it wants us to reevaluate our commitments in relationships, and if we have been running away from committing, why? We all have valid reasons why we sort of won't commit to certain relationships, but just getting real about your relationships. Do you want one? If you want one, how can you bring yourself more in alignment or open? A lot of the time it can close down from people to open to letting the right people into your life again if you are single. And Mercury in Virgo just allows us to think deeply, because it's a highly logical, analytical energy, allowing us to pay attention to detail over the next 3 days and organise our thoughts and feelings, and to stay focused on practical matters. So this doesn't mean ignore your emotions, but it just allows us to bring structure into how we process our psychological, emotional and spiritual sides of our nature right now. And it just allows us to problem solve and to refine, update our communication skills and pay attention to the finer points of information and communication. So good energy for us to overcome the times when we may have communicated wrongly this week, and that may have caused tension in our relationships. So on the 24th of September, the moon enters Gemini at 5:26 a.m. Mercury makes a trine to Uranus at 6:27 p.m. The moon enters its last quarter moon stage at 7:50. The moon goes stationary retrograde at 8:02, and Mercury makes its exact parallel to the moon's north node at 10:01 p.m. So Mercury's trine to Uranus happens when Mercury is in Virgo and Uranus is in Taurus, and the moon in Gemini just allows us to be more social, to network and to brainstorm, but again it can just make us gossipy and too analytical in our thinking and restless, and just focusing on the wrong things, instead of the responsibilities we need to focus on. It can just make us scattered in our energy and inconsistent in our communication and thoughts. But positively, it can be good if we hone on this energy to help us present information more effectively and be more quick-witted and articulate in our communication as well. Mercury's trine to Uranus again encourages efficient problem solving and also gives us flashes of insight that can lead us to the solutions that we need for whatever it is that's causing us problems right now. For instance, some of you may be working on a complex project and it just can help us make diversive, creative solutions at this moment. Be like, okay, I'm going to do this, or just allow us to sort of like think outside the box and be open, but negatively it can add to the overthinking and information overload, and we can just feel overwhelmed, and we just may feel just too mentally wired. And with the moon in Gemini as well, and Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, so it's like a double analytical energy, can just make us stronger and overthink, and we can struggle to prioritize tasks effectively when faced with multiple kind of stimuli, tasks and stuff like that. So we just need to pick our battles wisely, make sure we prioritize our responsibilities and give ourselves extra time to do the things we need to do. So yeah, if you want to sort of like work with this energy effectively, we just be open to newness and be gentle with yourself, as I keep on saying. The last quarter moon, which the moon goes into, it just allows us to, make progress on our goals and make the changes that we need to make before the new moon happens, It allows us just to reflect and to release the things, or start releasing the things that no longer serve us, our highest good. And the moon's north node in retrograde just allows us to go within and really think about our emotions. We may find ourselves more drawn towards activities and relationships that support deeper meaning and make you feel connected. It allows us to meditate and engage in spiritual practices with more ease, and just to understand the lessons that come up in our life, and with more ease right now. So this is really good, and just reminds us to trust in the process of evolution unfolding within you, and to really embrace letting go of the things that no longer serve your growth. A lot of the time our comfort zone is so comforting, but ultimately it comes a stage when it's not supporting our growth and we have to make a choice. So yeah, on the 25th of September, Mercury makes an opposition to the moon's north node. The moon enters void of course, and Mercury makes its exact contra-parallel to Neptune at 10:05 p.m. So Mercury's opposition to Neptune is the same as the contra-parallel, so it just adds to us being creative in our thinking and having intuitive insights where that's exact over the next couple of days. But as I said, Mercury's contra-parallel to Neptune lasts until the 28th, and Mercury's opposition leaves on the 26th. So yeah, so this over the 2 days, this is potent. It amplifies our attention to detail, but it can add to us being hazy and clouding in our judgment and escaping into our intoxicating habits, overdoing it, overindulging. So it's important to try and stay grounded and try and brainstorm new ideas to help you navigate your emotional pain or problems right now, instead of running into escapism. On the 26th of September, Mercury makes a trine to Pluto at 5:14 a.m. The Sun's contra-parallel to Mercury is exact at 9:30 a.m. and the Moon enters Cancer at 12:43 p.m. So Mercury's trine to Pluto allows us to dig deep as we head towards the end of the week into research and be willing to uncover those hidden truths I talked about earlier with Neptune. A lot of Neptune energy this week, and Neptune rules the 12th house, and some systems Pluto historically rules the 12th house as well. So it just allows us to have profound and intense mental focus, and really dig deep and be open to making the changes that we want to, and dig deep into complex subjects or complex trauma as well. But it can also add to the power struggles, but especially in communication. People can become more dominant in communication, and this may not be necessarily a bad thing, because we need to be assertive this week, but this can bring a clash between our ego and our communication style. So we just have to be mindful of what we're saying, and the moon in Cancer adds to this temperamental, moody energy that we can fall into, because we can be more clingy. But positively, it's good to share good times with friends and family, cook, games night, anything that brings smiles to your face, nurturing each other, and it promotes a strong sense of belonging. So this is really, really good, as it encourages us to listen to our inner feelings and to deal with our inner home, our psychological and emotional and spiritual traumas, and the real reasons why you may be needy or why you may be demanding, rather than just focusing on the surface. On the 27th of September, the Sun makes its exact parallel to Neptune at 9:27 a.m, and I talked about this earlier. So this week it's just to focus on, what's your communication. Try and go within yourself and just try and think and reflect. Don't be afraid of your own feelings and reaping them. There's a nice song for this. Don't Feel the Reaper. I can't remember the band, but put that into, wherever you listen to music and you'll find it. So on the 28th of September, Venus makes a sextile quadrant to Jupiter. Venus makes a quincunx to the Moon's North Node at 2:35 p.m. The Moon enters its balsamic moon phase at 4:48 p.m. The Moon enters void of course at 5:05 p.m. and then the Moon enters Leo at 5:08 p.m. So Venus's sextile quadrant to Jupiter happens when Venus is in Libra and Jupiter's in Taurus. Venus's quincunx to the Moon's North Node happens when the Moon's North Node is in Pisces, and of course Venus is still in Libra. So Venus's sextile quadrant to Taurus helps us to harmonise ourselves and balance our ego with the needs of others and the needs of our higher selves. It wants us to sort of find a balance between our desires for harmony and indulgence. It can bring a clash, this adds sort of on the negative to our ego. We need to find a middle ground between, expressing and buying things and enjoying life and comfort and saving for our future, and being prepared for our long-term goals. If you've got a long-term goal of, I want to save so I can go on holiday, but every month you spend all your money, you're never going to reach that goal, sort of thing. So just getting real about what it's going to take to reach your goals. Some of you may find yourself, torn between spending time with your partner to maintain harmony in the relationship and indulging in luxurious activities that bring you pleasure. That's represented by Jupiter in Taurus, because Jupiter's expanding Taurus right now. So the worst traits of indulging in stubbornness, but the good traits of being practical and grounding are also being amplified. So the best things to do over the next couple of days is to find a compromise and between these both aspects of yourself, so you can just have a more fulfilling week. Venus in Libra, quincunx the Moon's North Node, brings challenges related to our romantic side and our spiritual growth. So Venus in Libra wants harmony in relationships, and the Moon's North Node in Pisces emphasizes, spiritual evolution and connecting to your higher self and living from your higher self. And this sometimes means delaying the gratification your lower self wants, and the lower self wants everything now, more pleasure, more sensuality, more food, more drugs, more alcohol type of thing, or more intoxicating habit, whatever that may be for you. So this energy is pushing us to reassess our values, especially our relationship dynamics, and look at them from a more spiritual perspective, or at least a more logical perspective, taking into account what you really want from out of your life. So some of you may find yourself questioning whether your current relationships or habits or choices, thought patterns, stuff like that, align with your soul's growth and spiritual journey. And this sort of self-reflection, introspection can lead to you making changes in your partnerships. So it's important to strike a balance between finding romantic harmony and spiritual fulfillment at this time. The balsamic moon phase, it brings a time of reflection and release. It wants us to prepare for new beginnings. It encourages us to let go of what no longer serves us, making space for fresh opportunities to enter our life and setting intentions for our future. So the best use of this transit focus on finding a balance between material comfort and emotional harmony, reassessing relationships from a spiritual perspective, and reflecting on past patterns to make way for new growth and expansion. So this energy wants us to lean into a bit of luxury and comfort, because we have to have that in life, but also honour the deeper spiritual callings of your soul, higher consciousness, the needs of your logic, the needs of your lifestyle, and your true sort of like happiness. And true fulfillment comes from aligning both your heart's desires and your soul's purpose, and just be open and willing to evolve into the best version of yourself. So I'm Amani, your karmic holistic astrologer. So that was the weekly scope from the 22nd to the 28th of September.